The bell above the cafe door jingled softly as Sophia stepped inside, clutching her baby tightly against her chest. The morning was cold, and her thin sweater did little to shield her from the chill. She had only a few coins in her pocket, just enough to order the cheapest coffee on the menu. At least inside, she and her baby could stay warm for a little while. She chose the farthest corner table, away from the chatter and clinking cups of other customers. Setting her worn-out diaper bag on the floor, she sank into the chair with a sigh, rocking her baby gently. For a few minutes, everything was calm. She sipped her lukewarm coffee slowly, stretching out each sip so it wouldn't end too quickly. But soon, her baby stirred. A small whimper escaped his lips, then another, until it turned into sharp cries that pierced the cafe's cozy atmosphere. Heads turned. A man in a business suit frowned, muttering something under his breath. A young woman rolled her eyes, pulling her phone closer to her face as if to block out the sound. Sophia's heart raced. She knew this would happen. Her baby was hungry, and she couldn't afford another bottle of formula. She hesitated, then pulled the shawl tighter around herself. With trembling hands, she adjusted her baby under the fabric, hoping no one would notice as she began to breastfeed. She kept her gaze low, cheeks burning, praying it would be over quickly. But she wasn't invisible. Within minutes, a shadow loomed over her table. She looked up to see the cafe manager, arms folded, a frown etched across his face. "Ma'am," he said in a clipped, disapproving tone, "you can't do that here." Sophia froze. I'm sorry, he's just hungry." The manager shook his head. "This is a family-friendly cafe. Other customers don't want to see that. If you need to do it, take it outside." A lump rose in her throat. "But it's cold, and he's just a baby. Please, I'll be quick." But the manager's voice grew sharper, and loud enough for others to hear. "Rules are rules. Either stop or leave immediately." Whispers spread across the cafe. Some customers looked uncomfortable, others judgmental. Sophia's face burned with shame as tears blurred her vision. She fumbled for her bag, trying to gather her things while cradling her baby, who was still fussing for food. She stood shakily, shoulders hunched, ready to walk out. Every step toward the door felt like the longest of her life. And then, a deep voice cut through the heavy silence. "Excuse me," it said firmly. "Why are you throwing out a mother for feeding her child?" The cafe manager stiffened as the man in the suit stood, his polished shoes echoing against the tiled floor. The murmurs from the customers died instantly, replaced by the weight of silence. "Sir, it's just our policy," the manager stammered, his earlier confidence evaporating. "We don't allow things like that. It makes customers uncomfortable." The tall man raised an eyebrow, his sharp gaze never wavering. "Uncomfortable." His voice carried across the room, calm yet commanding. "A baby eating makes you uncomfortable." Sophia's breath caught in her throat. She recognized him now. Everyone in the cafe did. Adrian Blake, the billionaire CEO whose face often appeared on magazine covers, the man behind the entire chain of restaurants and cafes in the city. Gasps spread through the cafe. A couple of teenagers whispered his name. Even the man in the business suit who had frowned earlier sat up straighter, suddenly looking guilty. Adrian's expression softened as he turned toward Sophia. His voice, though firm, was now directed at her with surprising gentleness. "You did nothing wrong. You have every right to feed your child. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Sophia blinked, stunned. "But she couldn't finish. Her throat felt too tight. Adrian turned back to the manager, his tone hardening once more. "If this establishment cannot respect basic human dignity, then it has no business serving the public." He stepped closer, his presence towering. "Do you know what this cafe is supposed to represent? Comfort, warmth, community. And yet you chose humiliation over compassion." The manager's face turned pale. He opened his mouth to reply, but no words came out. Adrian glanced at the other customers, sweeping the room with his gaze. "If anyone here has a problem with a mother feeding her child, the door is right there." He pointed toward the exit. "She stays. They can leave." For a moment, no one moved. Then a young woman at a nearby table spoke softly. She shouldn't have been treated that way. Another customer nodded, then another. The tide of judgment turned into murmurs of support. Sophia's tears slipped down her cheeks. not from shame this time, but from overwhelming relief. Adrian gestured to a waiter. Bring her something warm to eat. And make it the best meal on the menu. On the house. Then he looked directly at the manager. And take note. From today, every single branch of this cafe will implement a policy welcoming breastfeeding mothers. No exceptions. If I ever hear of this happening again, you'll be looking for a new job. The manager's head dropped. Yes, Mr. Blake. Adrian returned his gaze to Sophia, his features softening once again. He crouched slightly so he was at eye level with her and her baby. He's lucky, he said with a small, rare smile. He has a mother strong enough to stand tall even when the world tries to push her down. Don't ever doubt that. Sophia's lips trembled. Thank you, she whispered, her voice breaking. The cafe erupted into quiet applause. Some customers clapped softly, others smiled at her with newfound respect. The same place where she had felt humiliation moments ago now radiated a strange warmth, all because one man had chosen to stand up. And as Sophia settled back into her chair, her baby finally nursing in peace, she realized she would never forget this moment, when a CEO didn't act like a businessman, but like a human being who cared. The entire cafe went quiet. All eyes shifted toward the speaker, a tall man in an expensive navy suit, seated in the corner she hadn't noticed before. He set down his coffee cup with deliberate calm, his sharp gaze locked on the manager. Sophia froze mid-step, clutching her baby tighter. She didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change.